when the hunter becomes the hunted. It is now all but official. Special Counsel Jack Smith is going to dismiss and wind down both criminal prosecutions remaining against Donald Trump. The Mar-a-Lago one for obstruction of justice and Espionage Act, and the D.C. election interference case in front of Judge Chutkan. And he will wrap this all up over the next month, certainly well before the inauguration in January. The sooner he gets it done, the better for the American public, because I'm going to talk about the report that he is required to prepare and that Merrick Garland has said on numerous occasions he will release to the American people. I'm Michael Popok. This is Legal AF and the MeidasTouch Network, and it's important to talk about the shape and the contours of just how Special Counsel Jack Smith backs out, not only gracefully, but how he issues his report, wraps up that report, and that Merrick Garland, I will implore here, has to release the report to the public, both under DOJ guidelines and because if he doesn't, and if he leaves it to the Trump administration incoming, we will never see that report ever again. We saw this already with Bill Barr and the Mueller report, and Merrick Garland cannot make that same mistake again and just say, well, I'll leave it to the incoming attorney general to handle. No, he's got to release that report. Let's talk about it and I'm going to walk you through what's happening, what's about to happen, and what's going to happen, and what should happen. Here we go. Let's start with the decision. Jack Smith has made the decision. It's already been reported that he's told FBI agents that work on the matter, his other attorneys in the special counsel's office who work on the matter, they can start planning to resign, retire, leave the special counsel's office over the next few weeks. The number one focus for him right now, Jack Smith and his team and his senior leadership, is to draft and finalize their report. If you're looking for a recent model, Robert Hur wrote over a 300-page report about Joe Biden's handling of classified documents after he left the vice presidency, and that was released almost in its entirety, except for some redaction by Merrick Garland. Is the report going to be that lengthy? No, but I think we can expect at least a 100-page report. A lot of it's already in the public domain through filings because the special prosecutor has been forced by the Supreme Court to file hundreds and thousands of pages of documents in order to have his superseding indictment survive. He has a lot of detail in his superseding indictment against Donald Trump. But the focus of that report has to be, by Department of Justice guidelines, focused on a couple of things. Why he decided to prosecute Donald Trump has to be in there. That answer has to be in there. What charges he elected to bring against Donald Trump and which charges he did not elect to bring. So here's an interesting thing to keep an eye on, and I'll keep an eye on. In the D.C. election interference case, by the way, there are 5 or 6 unindicted co-conspirators. We know who they are. Jeffrey Clark and Rudy Giuliani and Boris Epstein, Sidney Powell, John Eastman, Mike Roman, different people. I think he'll also disclose why he chose to make them unindicted co-conspirators and the bad conduct that each of them did, because I think that has to be the complete storytelling about the named and unnamed co-conspirators with Donald Trump. And this is either going to be 2 separate reports, one for Mar-a-Lago and one for the D.C. election interference case, or a 2-part report. But it must be prepared. There is no way, and there's no one that can stop him. I want to make this clear. I know there's a lot of speculation that the incoming House is going to do something about it, or the current lame duck House of Representatives that's barely led by MAGA and oversight committees and judiciary committees by Jim Jordan and Barry Loudermilk, that they'll be able to do something. No. They've already put Jack Smith on notice that he is going to be hunted, that he is going to be the target of investigations as soon as the new Congress comes back. And has told him and the rest of the people on his team to preserve all of their papers, all of their data, as if they were going to destroy it. But we know that there's the first months when Congress is back is going to be spent wasting our time and the American public's taxpayer dollars going after people like Jack Smith. Now, having said that, Jack Smith has a way to fire back. There's nothing Congress can do. They can't pull the plug. They can't, pull his budget. The money's already been allocated. The money's already been spent. And I believe Jack Smith would do this for free if he had to. Finish this report, I mean. That report's got to be done in the next week or two. Why? Because it has to be vetted by the national intelligence community to make sure there's nothing in there that's revealed that shouldn't be redacted. But I think this also opens up the entirety of, since the case is going to be dismissed and Donald Trump has immunity, all of those secret grand jury testimony and proceedings, I think they're fair game. I think they end up on the public docket. I think Judge Chutkan should have them filed on the public docket and rip off the black masking tape on all the prior redactions in the case, because there's no longer anything to protect. Donald Trump is not going to get held accountable. He's got immunity, and the case is over. So file the grand jury testimony in all of the matters, all the evidence that they heard, everything that has been previously filed under redaction. Take it off, take the seal off, and let the public see it. So I spend most of my day in front of a screen and a microphone, and this used to mean I spent a lot of my day sitting. The research on sitting for long periods has been linked with various conditions such as poor heart health, bad posture, diabetes, and the list goes on. This is why I love Uplift Desk and their ergonomic desks and chairs. A standing desk can help lower your risk of disease, improve your mood and focus, boost productivity, and increase your energy. I use my Uplift desk every day. When I'm standing up thinking with a cup of joe about how to prepare for my next hot take or podcast episode, I'm not staring into space. It's my most productive ruminating and cogitating me time at my Uplift desk. And only when I'm on my feet do my creative juices really start to flow. The option to move while I work promotes better circulation, which can reduce all types of different health risks and repetitive strains. Uplift Desk helps you build your custom dream desk by choosing from over 100 desktop choices and hundreds of accessories. Their desk configurator lets you build out a complete workstation with storage, seating, wire management. Listen, when I used it, I had my perfect dream standing desk that I've wanted for over 30 years configured in less than 10 minutes. I had loads of fun configuring my Uplift desk, starting with picking my tabletop. I went with a beautiful walnut butcher block, added white legs and storage drawers, wheels for mobility, and a number of cool cable management and pop-up and power grommets for my perfect custom Uplift desk. I especially like the different control options and memory settings that puts the desk at just the perfect height for me and lets my wife join in on the productive fun when she visits at the office too. We've got a special deal and it's exclusive to our audience. When you visit our link at upliftdesk.com/legalaf, you're going to get 4 free accessories. Free same-day shipping, free returns with free shipping, and an industry-leading 15-year warranty that covers the entire desk, plus an extra discount off your entire order. That's upliftdesk.com/legalaf for a special offer, and it's only available at our link. Work better, live healthier with Uplift Desk. There's really 2 thrusts to the data that we're going to be getting. We're going to get a neat bow wrapped around it in these 1 or 2 reports by Jack Smith, but we're going to get this sort of unedited material that we haven't seen before on the public docket. And there's nothing that the MAGA Congress or Donald Trump's campaign can do about it except whine and complain, which we've seen before. But it's not going to stop Jack Smith. Now, Merrick Garland, let's turn our attention to Merrick Garland. Merrick Garland in the past has said he will release this report. I know, of course, that was before the Supreme Court's decision on the Supreme Court's decision and before Donald Trump got reelected or elected. Could somebody in the Trump campaign or an organization try to run to federal court to stop the publication of the investigation, arguing that it unfairly impedes the powers of the incoming president, impairs his ability to do his job, somehow violates the presidential transition laws? I mean, they can try. I expect that they will try. And we'll report on it here on MeidasTouch Network and, of course, on Legal AF, our new YouTube channel. So I'm not saying everybody's going to lay down. I think we're going to see a lawsuit attempted by the House or by the Trump people or MAGA to try to get to a federal judge. But the first stop of the federal judge circuit is going to be the D.C. circuit, which does not lean MAGA. And then Chief Justice Roberts is going to have to make the ultimate decision there. So I think that could happen. I just don't think they're going to be successful. Although I've seen the United States Supreme Court do crazy, wacky things just in the recent past, especially trying to benefit Donald Trump. Could there be 4 votes in the United States Supreme Court to stop the executive branch and its Department of Justice from issuing a report because the incoming guy just got elected president? I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibility. But Merrick Garland's got to do his job, and Jack Smith's got to do his. Got to finish the report, get it vetted through the national intelligence community, turn it over to Merrick Garland, redact whatever they need, and then hit publish. Get it out to the public. And you can't leave it. I mean, this goes without saying, Merrick, you can't leave it to the Trump administration to do the right thing unless you are enjoined, stopped, prevented, and blocked by a federal judge all the way up to the United States Supreme Court. That has to get out to the public. There's no two ways about it. And Judge Chutkan, the same thing. Judge Chutkan should be putting onto the public docket on a regular basis and stripping off all the redaction tape on all the information and data and evidence against Donald Trump. That's just it. It's the only way to conclude. That needs to be the shape and contour of how Jack Smith wraps this up. So it's just not going to be, well, good night, everybody, turn off the lights. I wonder what Jack Smith really thought. No, we're going to know what Jack Smith really thinks in that written report. Now the only fight is going to be in the federal courts and ultimately the Supreme Court about whether it sees the light of day. If you had asked me a year ago or before July's immunity decision, would there be 5 votes on the United States Supreme Court to interfere with the separation of powers and have them tell the executive branch what to do with a report? I'd say no way. It's impossible. After the immunity decision, where they were even suggesting that Donald Trump in his capacity as commander-in-chief could order SEAL Team 6 to take out a political rival and that would be okay, or sell a pardon or pardon himself, all bets are off. If it finally gets up to the Supreme Court, we're going to be biting our fingernails. It's going to be a white knuckle moment for our constitutional republic. Because could you just see the Supreme Court doing another favor for Donald Trump, undermining our democracy and their reputation, what it is that's already down in the toilet, and saying no, we're going to block the release of Jack Smith's report because the guy that he's got the report against, yes, he was a criminal, indicted criminal defendant, but now he's coming into the presidency. So it'll have to be 4 years from now when he finally leaves office. Sort of like when we got the investigation into the assassination of JFK. We finally got the final papers like 30 years later. I'll keep an eye on it. Public pressure is important. That's why we formed Legal AF. That's why we continue to support the MeidasTouch network with subscriptions, because the bigger we are, the more your voice is heard. And public disdain and public retribution, if you will, calling your senators, calling your congresspeople, taking to the streets, taking to the social media, taking to the marketplace of ideas, it's important. I can't express it enough. And I'm going to continue to draw attention to it right here on MeidasTouch Network and on the Legal AF. Join me on the Legal AF channel. Hit the subscribe button. We've added 33,000 people since the election, which signals to me that we have a tremendous responsibility to bring you this kind of content at the intersection of law and politics, a thoroughfare that is the most important in our democracy right now. I'm Michael Popok, and I am reporting. In collaboration with the MeidasTouch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories at the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.